Good morning, everyone. I'm Roland Green. This is Reactions, Rants, and Rabbit Holes. And I got to tell you, I had a very interesting experience, and it was not negative. And I'm proud of both of the individuals, myself and this other person, because we both wanted to make clear our personal positions. Um, and I don't disrespect this person's feelings. This is they got to be legitimate. They're his feelings. So I try real hard not to say because you feel that way. Um, it's wrong. I don't believe that at all, and I don't believe because I feel something that's right. But I think it was impressive. Uh, he brought good things out of me, and he made. I'm not saying I agree. I was born into this system. Like I said, I problems on the planet I think existed unfortunately before this chunk of land was even conquered. And I'll say that I don't have a time machine to go back there, but I have a college degree that was based on indigenous history. My history classes were all based on the indigenous history of the Americas. That was the only history classes offered for my when I was going, and so I don't have a narrow-minded view. I don't have a Western Hollywood uh, trope-filled views of uh, noble conquerors and savages. I don't have none of that. Um, I wanted to tell you one more thing because it takes a long time in the comments. I uh, I weathered this storm once before when I was incarcerated, and by the time I left, I uh, I got real tight with the native brothers in the joint. That's not here nor there, and I'm not saying it means anything. But my workout partner was chief in the joint. He was the head of the native culture group. He and I ended up getting along super well because I have an utmost respect for native indigenous spirituality, the connection to the earth, that kind of thing. So, just to clarify a few things, and yeah, I'm glad we were able to. Because yeah, I wasn't, man. The current coup that I complain about is not based on any racial component. It's based on um, pushing a globalist new world order agenda into place. I'm not gonna. I try not to play in the racial ballpark because I mean, what am I gonna say? I'm this pasty marshmallowy white guy, and my grandkids are black, so you think that changes how much I love, care, honor, and cherish and would protect them? You're crazy. My honey, all of that. That's the problem. Is I really do believe humans are humans, flesh, blood, bone. We the same. It's only the outside that makes people positive there's something wrong. And then I think the planet has a history of conflict, no matter what. That no matter what, conflict and conquest are what built the entire planet, unfortunately. And outside of, let's say, um, a colonial mentality in the West, you have to realize that the East and the African continents didn't quite operate on the same. I mean, sure, the world been turned over and pounded raw by the man. The problem is the man has changed so many times in history that it's pretty hard to nail it down to one group outside of elitists. And then elitist and elitism doesn't see color. So the problem is there's too much evidence that elitism exists on every planet and that every person of every race has had a rich person or a powerful person who thinks they should tell everybody what to do. That has always been the enemy. And I'll go, you got a medicine man and tribal elders, draw wisdom and knowledge from them. The moment they tell you to burn down the neighboring town, maybe their wisdom has failed. Okay, on a side note, we did discover that Immortal. So here is the beginning of the song Money, Money, Money from ABBA. So that's ABBA. And I put this over on Rumble too, but I just wanted to, because I said it a few times and it sounded like I was crazy.
Shut the whole system down.
You get up and howl about America and democracy. There is no America. There is no democracy.
All right, so that's I just wanted, because they are for sure the same beat. He for sure grabbed that melody, and which is cool. Love, respect. I'm not saying that's anything wrong with that. I find it amusing, and we're gonna check this out because the person that the gentleman, the person and I who reached across. Oh goodness gracious, goodness gracious. I'm trying not to be trying to watch my mouth. The new every time I curse, you might as well just check the box that I'm not worthy of any attention, because God forbid I curse. But boy, the vice president can curse, and you listen to him and all these other people. That was a different one years ago. But I use them. I use whatever an elitist gets to say. Of course, I get to say. You don't have to. They'll never check my language before they check the scumbags who run the world. The problem is I wouldn't do any of the evil, but I get all the same language rights and rewards that they do. They don't work harder. They're not better. They're horrible, horrible scumbag people. I'm going to say that till the end. The elitists are the problem. It's always been a class war.
Immortal Technique, caught in the hustle.
Yeah.
Compton 12 inches on
Right when they was
Uncle
trying to
Howie
turn their
Records.
back on the street. Not let us have our say. Fuck that. Fuck y'all. It's the Stronghold Mixtape, Volume 2. Immortal Technique. Holla. Harlem. Peace. They say the odds against me are crooked and impossible. Like I was born with a hole in my heart. It's an obstacle. I left to die by the doctors in the children's hospital. But I never lose hope. Success is psychological. The world is volatile and the street is my education. Shaping the nation like the blueprint of a mason. While Shawshank record deals get you raped on occasion. So I'm focused on my economic situation. I'm like the little kids on TV that dig through the trash. I hustle regardless of the way you talk shit and laugh. A lot of niggas drop science, but they don't know the math. Cause they mind is narrower than the righteous path. It's funny how on the block, niggas that kill you for cash, but never raise the gun to cry out freedom at last. The Cold War is over, but the world is still getting colder. Atlas walking through the projects with the hood on my shoulders. I would like to raise my children to grow to be soldiers, but then a general would decide when their life would be over. So
Yeah, that's so I love all the attitude. I totally respect the differences. I am in not a chance the Cold War ever ended. The current situation is a byproduct of the Cold War, and I would guess your NATO, New World Progressive Gay Agenda Alliance versus traditional family-based. And here's the thing. If anybody believes that the family and loving your kids and honoring your family is what oppressed the world, no, of course not. It's extremist individuality, and somehow my own personal feelings matter more than the entire planet. And there's where I bump heads with socialist or utopian view people, because you have to wipe out so many people you disagree with to get your way. You can't honestly believe everyone that disagrees with you is just automatically wrong and evil, right? I mean, I'm naive, but I know just because I don't see eye to eye with someone, they shouldn't disappear. That them drawing breath has value and worth. Just because I don't believe in their ideology, their basic framework for life, doesn't mean their life doesn't hold value. Of course it does. The only people that I don't think have value to their life are the elitist scum who have intentions to control the world. Those are scumbags, and I will just always keep saying it, and I can argue with them in the comments because I'm right. You do horrible things for money and power, you're horrible. It's okay. Just accept it. Just accept you're bad. You are the reason the world burns every day, and without you, we could move on.
To raise my children to grow to be soldiers, but then a general will decide when their life will be over.
And before we go too far, because I hate to be, because I've been looking into it, you better look into where all the supposed badasses and people, revolutionaries, went over to fight that war. And they're handed it sounds like, looks like Leningrad again. Except that's you, supposedly the good guys. They'll hand you a rifle in one clip and push you to the front, tear up your passport. Now, I only saw the couple stories on this. I can't say this is everywhere, but I have already seen some of the people who think they're going to go over, they think they're doing something to change the world. Man, boy. Let's put it this way. How about stop defending your own partners because it was NATO who bombed that hospital? 3-4 days later, we already have the information. Now we know. Everybody tries to say it's something else. How about we just say what it really is? It gets very confusing because the same people that are supposedly be fixing the world for equity and equality are the same people bombing the churches and the hospitals. The same people that wipe out the traditional part of town so the new progressive part of town with the rape gangs and the grooming and the horror come in. And these are quantifiable facts. I'm not speaking from a position of I don't like them. That has nothing to do with it. It's if there's actual no-go zones, we all should talk about it, not pretend it's not happening. Firebombing cars, rape gangs, this stuff, that ain't gonna work. You'll never build any sort of utopian vision on all of these atrocities. And then thinking you can take and redo all the atrocities that were done to us in the past, man, we ain't got no time machines. It's not real. We're going to get into it really soon. But the World Economic Forum, Mr. Schwab and all these people, they've had designs on the planet for our whole life. Depending on how old you are, me at 53, I've never had a chance. There was a design for the New World Order my whole life, and the New World Order is not designed on making you all happy. We all will become workers. And then they've already said they want to hack our brains so we become compliant. The soldiers right now are more worried about gender studies training than combat effectiveness. Well, that's going to be a problem. History shows what brothers at arms, the camaraderie that happens. The conflict would create the camaraderie, not forced study on issues that only apply to a tiny minority of people. People have as many rights as everyone else. You just shouldn't get special treatment for where and what you have sex with. As long as you're not doing harm, who cares what disgusting thing you do in the bedroom as long as you're not hurting anybody?
So I work hard until my personality split. Like the Black Panthers into the Bloods and the Crips. They said I'd never be shit, but now I sit and reminisce like Yeshua Ben Yosef flipping through Genesis. Ignorance is venomous and it murders the soul, spreading like a virus, running rampant out of control. So if I should ever fall and get caught in a hustle, let them know that I died while I fought in the struggle. From the hood rats to rich kids lost in the bubble, spray painted on the streets and in the subway tunnels. Write it down and remember that we never gave in. The mind of a child is where the revolution begins. So if the solution has never been to look in yourself, how is it that you expect to find it anywhere else? Immortal technique in the streets, back on the hustle, cause 3 strikes to get you life.
I've been talking about that for a long time. If you don't like yourself, you don't have no
to
chance.
begin. So if the solution has never been to look in yourself, how is it that you expect to find it anywhere else? Immortal technique.
Yeah, if you don't look in the mirror and see a reflection of you, the real you, then the truth is you're probably not going to be able to change anything in the world. You'd have to fix yourself. And now I'm not directing this at any one person. I'm saying the you is anyone who's listening, and the goal would be to make peace with yourself in the mirror. Do you like the person in the mirror? You can't do anything if you don't care for yourself. Now, it doesn't mean that self has to become the most important thing. That's Luciferian, right? Directing everything to self is also, I mean, there's just no chance. If everything is about self, then you don't actually worship God, you worship the devil. Because everything should be about taking care of others. It just should, you know. Goodwill is contagious. Hate is malignant.
In the streets, back on the hustle, cause 3 strikes to get you life for stuffing cracks in a duffel. Upstate behind steel gates, attacked in a scuffle. Razor blade stuck on the side of pencils, hacked to your muscle. But the emptiness is what bleeds you to death when it cuts you. And it's the lawyers, not the inmates, scheming to fuck you. Trying to fight the system from inside eventually corrupts you. But that's what you get when you put a corporation above you. And it's the people that love you that seem to hurt you the most. Sometimes when they die, you find yourself cursing a ghost. But you make success, nobody delivers your fate. Sometimes you give and you take, since prehistoric vertebrates crawled out of the lakes. And that's the truth about life. Wanna do with the ghetto in your car rims and your ice. Cause even though we survived through the struggle that made us, we still look at ourselves through the eyes of people that hate us. But I'ma make it regardless of the trumped up charges and semi-automatic barrages that empty the cartridge. Post-traumatically scarred kids that try to be brave, cause niggas backstab each other just to try to get paid. Turn cannibal like knights during the crusades, afraid of responsibility, addicted to greed, beating a girl, purposefully losing the seed, as if we bound to the destiny we used to receive. So if I should ever fall and get caught in a hustle, let them know that I died while I fought in the struggle. From the hood rats to rich kids lost in the bubble, spray painted on the streets and in the subway tunnels. Write it down and remember that we never gave in. The mind of a child is where the revolution begins. So if the solution has never been to look in yourself, how is it that you expect to find it anywhere else?
And there's my only problem is children should be children. Here's my biggest problem. We stop indoctrinating children. It just creates cult mentality. Natural law in children works really well. They just love and care for each other. They play, they bond, they connect with no other human interference. Kids don't have the petty problems that adults do. So when we program a child, we actually destroy them. We fracture their mind and we put in ideas that are beyond them. And those ideas, it would be like, you got mad, but it would be like the Maoist revolution where killing your grandparents and eating them was a sign of respect. Now, if you endorse that, there's no common ground. There is just none. That is ritualistic cult behavior, once again, to program the hearts and minds of the participants. This is classic psychological behavior and control. It's not opinion. I'm not giving you my opinion. Indoctrination changes a person. it's just fracturing the mind is a real thing. Creating disciples is not creating free people.
I used to wonder people don't believe in themselves, and then I saw the way they portrayed us to everyone else that cursed us, to only see the worst in ourselves, blind to the fact the whole time we were hurting ourselves. I used to wonder people don't believe in themselves, and then I saw the way.
Yeah, I wouldn't even talk no shit. I've been to the joint. I know. I lived in the inner city, dated a gal for years, lived in her family, spent my time in their life, did almost 5 years in the joint. A lot of the damage is self-imposed, and I would just never. I'm not going to argue. You have to recover from mistakes and learn from them. It can't be just a cycle of repeating the same mistakes. That's insanity.
Blind to the fact the whole time we were hurting ourselves. I used to wonder people don't believe in themselves, and then I saw the way they portrayed us to everyone else that cursed us.
ViperRecords.com, ImmortalTechnique.com.
That was a sweet song, man. That was very good. Super good. I think there's a lot of deep stuff in there, and honestly, breaking free from the cycles of despair, crime, and destruction are the first thing. Because I said in my comments, now I'm back to this one individual, but I can't speak from your world of hate, because everywhere I lived and spent time, everybody was welcome and available. I didn't grow up in that world, so I don't relate to it. I'm not stupid. I think it exists. I just personally didn't live in it, and then I would move away from it if I did. I don't surround myself with negativity. It's a lot easier to break free from the chains of bondage when I don't dwell in negativity. But this was long. We're going to let it go. Fantastic song. I like that one.